You're in for a treat today. Welcome back to day 63 of our Proven Cancer Strategies Revealed 90 Days to Cancer Resilience series. Today we have a very special guest, Sandra Leigh, who will be sharing her powerful story of resilience and transformation. Sandra is a professional certified in emotional intelligence, behavioral effectiveness, and neuro change. With a career spent coaching over 11,000 individuals, she has helped people break through their barriers and reach their potential. But beyond her impressive credentials, Sandra is also a cancer survivor. Her journey through cancer and her mindset shift will inspire you to see what's possible, no matter what your current circumstances are. In today's clip from last year's summit, Sandra shares how she faced and overcame her cancer diagnosis and what she learned about mindset and the power of positivity. But before we jump into the clip, remember that our summit is the Last Hope for Healing is coming up this Saturday at Sheridan College in Oakville, Ontario, and you can join in person or via live stream, and we'd love to see you there. And if you're busy this Saturday, you can always sign up and catch the replay. Now let's get to Sandra's clip.
Sandra is driven by her intrinsic motivation to help others reach their potential. Having held roles as senior executive business consultant, coach, and mentor, Sandra has had the privilege of coaching over 11,000 people globally. She has experienced firsthand when people are stuck and why people are stuck and procrastinate. I know all about that one. I don't know anybody who doesn't. And why, while others are soaring and achieve their goals and dreams. Sandra is a certified professional in a variety of modalities, including general intelligence and ability, emotional intelligence, behavioral effectiveness, and neuro change. The most recent developments in brain and mind science to achieve personal transformation. And that's what we're talking about here is transformation. Sandra has the evidence-based knowledge and skills to help people move past their barriers, expand their minds, create the personal change that results in life fulfillment. And she is also a cancer survivor, and she will share perspectives that will ignite thought in all of us today and guide us to explore what is possible in our current circumstances. Sandra, come on up.
She's not here, but I'll be here.
Oh.
Don't scare me. Thank you. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Debbie. And I am really thrilled to be here with all of you this afternoon. And I got to say, what happened this morning, I truly was moved. Danielle, Pat, de Havilland, your messages were from the heart. There was passion in there. I learned a lot from you. And you definitely did inspire me to take action. Like having more color in my meals at night, adding a little bit more healthy content, if you will, to my smoothies in the morning. The other thing that I got from you is about detoxing. And don't wait every 4 or 5 years to do it. Do it every 3 months. And the other one was about being still. I don't know how to be still. I seriously don't. I used to run around and keep busy all the time. And only in the last few years have I learned to just be still. And there's power in that. And so today I'm going to talk about mindset and how you can move forward. But I have some very specific goals for you today. And one of them is that you learn how you can harness your own power and not give it away. The other one is how to live in your own authenticity, which is part of what you ladies were talking about earlier in slightly different words. And the third one is that you walk away with a new perspective. Something slightly different or even a refreshed perspective on what you can do with your life. I want you to feel limitless. But first, I got some questions for you. How many of you have a dream or something really important that you're working towards? Okay. How many of you have it as a dream versus I'm actually doing something about it? So you're actually doing something about okay. Yeah. Yeah. And so do you find that it's hard to get started? Or do you find that you run into obstacles? Anybody run into obstacles? Yeah. You're definitely not alone. I've spent the last 30 years helping individuals and organizations reach their potential. So on the corporate side, I would go into global companies and do corporate culture change, bringing people along kicking and screaming to align to what the company wanted. And to do that, it's really creating alignment and congruence with what the company wants. An example that we can probably all relate to is we want to be more service-oriented. We want to pay better attention to our customers, be more responsive or even proactive. And my job was on the behavioral side and some of the HR infrastructure to make all that happen. Hire people who are service-oriented, train them to be service-oriented, build behavioral competencies, that sort of work. And it was one person at a time, one leadership group at a time that I would work with. And not only are you trying to change corporate culture, but in a global company, you have different cultures around the world. So how do you find that common stream that ties everybody together? And that is what ties global companies together, is culture. And some people would say, Sandra, I don't give a damn. Others would say, it's about time. We should have done this a long time ago. And the ones who said, I don't give a damn, I would ask them, what do you care about? And you know what they'd say? I don't know. I haven't got a clue. And Debbie, you mentioned I have personally coached and mentored over 11,000 people all over the world. And yes, I have seen firsthand why they're apathetic or they procrastinate, why they struggle with conflict or challenges, and what it takes to be successful. But of those 11,000 people that I've worked with, at least 85% of them are unhappy. They're unhappy in their life because they live according to everyone else's expectations of them and not who they are. Or they're stuck in their trauma. It's a combination of not finding their authentic selves. And these are brilliant people. They've got senior roles in companies. They just can't get their act together, and it's not their fault. And so what I've done in working with these people is I've also met people with illness, people with MS, different forms of cancer, people with emotional challenges, like I'm going through divorce, or I'm in a custody battle, or someone close to me just passed away, a multitude of challenges. But what I've seen is them rise up from the ashes of their circumstances, to be happier, to have more fulfillment in their lives, in spite of their circumstances. It's just very rewarding. And for me, I know what it's like to want something so badly, but you can't get there because of barrier after barrier and roadblock after roadblock. But you know what I learned? They're all in my head. All those barriers, all because of my mindset. It's all self-sabotaging. It was self-inflicted. Wish I learned that a long time ago. I've always been a positive person, but positivity alone, a positive attitude alone does not get you to your destination. It might make the experience a little happier, but it doesn't get you there. It is critical, especially if you're going through cancer, to have that positive attitude. But it doesn't get you everywhere, and I'm going to tell you how we get there. I had cancer in my arm. I'll show you, it looks like hell. My arm right now. Can you see my arm, a skinny little arm? I had it here, and it was sarcoma, and I had radiation, and then lots of appointments to follow up to see if it had spread, and obviously it hadn't for me. Let's see if I can get this back on. But what it left me with is a lifetime of arm weakness. If I cut myself, I run the risk of getting cellulitis under my skin. I have 500 milligrams of Keflex, which is an antibiotic that I keep, and I travel all the time. Because when it happens, it spreads really fast. And I almost died from it once because my entire lymphatic system got infected, hence the need for a new diet. And part of the problem was the type of surgery I had back then, where now they do almost pinpoint laser surgery. And so it's like you cut yourself, it's like a river going through rocks. It can't get through, and it just infects. And I know when it's happening. And then 12 years ago, I lost circulation in this arm because of all that. It was painful. It was like a claw like this. It was Halloween. And I went for surgery, and my kid said, "Don't worry, Mom, you can go to the dollar store and get those fake arms to add to it." Thanks, guys. Yeah, it was pretty funny. When I was going to the original Princess Margaret Hospital here in Toronto, the cancer hospital, where it was on Sherbourne Street, for any of you who are familiar, the first time I walked in, I was 17 years old when this happened. And I was in with my dad, and I looked around the waiting room, and I was so surprised at the sadness, the heaviness in the air. It was very morbid to be in. I hadn't experienced that, so it was a bit of a shock. But I made a decision right there that I am not going to feel that way. What you're talking about, to have I chose to be positive. I chose to heal. And I was saying to de Havilland, I don't even need to do my presentation because you did it all. De Havilland is a perfect example of what I'm going to talk about today. And so I made that decision, and I chose, even though I didn't know my prognosis at all, I had no idea how bad it was because it just happened. But I chose in that moment to be positive and acknowledge my fears, and only positive people could come with me.
Wow. Sandra's story really highlights the importance of mindset, doesn't it? The idea that our barriers are often in our head up here and that we have the power to move past them is such a critical takeaway for all of us, especially when we're dealing with the challenges of illness or major life changes. Sandra's resilience and her ability to focus on positive people and thoughts during her cancer journey are something that we can all learn from. As she mentioned, it's not just about having a positive attitude, it's also about taking action and owning your power. Now, if you found this message impactful as I did, then you'll definitely want to join us at the Last Hope for Healing Summit this Saturday, where we will have more stories like Sandra's, and you will gain some actionable tools to help improve your health and your mindset. The link to register is in the description below. And remember, we have both in person and live stream options available, and everyone gets the replay. So thank you for joining me today. We will see you tomorrow for day 64 and another inspiring clip from last year's summit. Until then, stay resilient.